Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Well, that was only a partial wind, but you get an idea of the tone, sustain, and volume of the alarm on this Jaeger-LeCoultre AMVOX1 limited edition titanium wrist alarm. You can see and you can purchase this limited edition Aston Martin inspired wrist alarm on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with accessories included, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Jaeger-LeCoultre AMVOX1 in titanium. So click on the card in the upper right hand corner to see it for sale. Follow me if you'd like to see what this watch is about, how it fits, and learn a little bit about what's inside the case. Now, the watch is 42 millimeters across the round of the case. That's from 9 to 3. That's not inclusive of any of the crowns, and the crowns from top to bottom control the alarm winding and setting functions. In the middle, the internal rotating bezel, and at the bottom, winding and setting of the time-telling functions of the watch. Now, it's not exceptionally thick, although it looks thick because of the sheer flank of the case and the extraordinary and highly expensive box section sapphire. That's a rarity, and even in high horology, those are incredibly troublesome and costly to make, especially with the way it's squared off at its edge. Now, the watch is light on the wrist, 15 millimeters thick. It's 47.5 millimeters from lug to lug, so it fits well on a smaller wrist. I would say perhaps down to 14.5 centimeters in wrist circumference. You can wear this watch with style and security. The strap is a phenomenal piece, comprised of dark brown bridge of weir leather. It's calf and exceptionally soft, really buttery. It's designed to evoke vintage upholstery in 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Classic David Brown era Aston Martins. You can see it has a monotone stitch and beautiful folded edges with a supple calfskin on the bottom. The watch is combined with JLC's titanium single fold deploy and clasp. Now, this is JLC's second generation deploy and clasp, also second and final generation of the single fold. It's very robust, very substantial, and happily it looks like a conventional traditional pin buckle when it is completely fixed, so it has a handsome look that nicely complements the semi-vintage aesthetic of this watch. Moving inboard, you can see the case is all satin finished. The character lines are sharp and beautifully defined, and this example has survived the ravages of going on its second decade with aplomb. You'll note the handsome bevel of the lugs squared off and sharp. The watch also features a very minimalist bezel. One could almost say the watch is almost bezel-less, with that huge sapphire extended over the entirety of the internal rotating bezel, which you can use to align with the minute hand for timing impromptu 0 to 60 spans, as well as the dial center, which is designed, as you can see, through 270 degrees of calibration, both on the center scale and the hour scale. This because the dial is half inspired by the classic E859 Polaris diving watch, the 1968 dial version, and half inspired by vintage Aston Martin dashboard instruments built by Jaeger, the instrument subsidiary of Jaeger-LeCoultre. Now, of course, because the lower 90 degrees of a speedometer or a tachometer is not calibrated, so too is this watch blank along that span, so it evokes source material without being painfully literal. Titanium and a 1,000-piece special edition, the watch has a handsome dark rhodium-coated or galvanized gray dial, incredibly fetching. It features a broad range of grayscales, so even though it's relatively muted and subdued, nevertheless it enjoys phenomenal contrast with fully luminescent Arabic numerals and calypso hands at center. It's easy to view in any light. Now, it does feature a jump date, but this is not a quick set jump date because the watch is powered by the classic 1983 to roughly 2008 Jaeger-LeCoultre caliber 918 alarm. The 918 bidirectional winding with 22 joules features a 45-hour power reserve, and it beats away to modern 28,800 vibrations per hour, while also featuring hacking seconds such that if you pull the crown, you do stop the balance. Now you can precisely synchronize the watch to an accurate reference time. The one perhaps vintage feature of this movement is that it doesn't have a conventional quick set. Rather, you advance the hour hand past midnight then you turn it back to about 10, then you advance past midnight. It's like using an old Rolex day date. You have to adjust the date in such a fashion. It's protected by 5 ATM water resistance, so perhaps enough for surface swimming on a textile strap. Nevertheless, it looks like the diving Polaris of the 60s. Just remember, that's aesthetic only. Don't go diving with this one. And curiously, you'll note that the classical 16 perforations of the Polaris's caseback here has been reduced to a distinctive and quirky 14. Small things matter, and this watch is subtle in every respect. The combination of the grayscale tones, the incredibly discreet Aston Martin co-branding. In fact, on the front end of the watch, you'd only know that this is automotive inspired by the relative position of the numerals and the blank 90 degrees of the lower dial. The only Aston Martin signage on this watch is the winged logo on the caseback. You can see and you can purchase this limited edition of 1,000 pieces, the Jaeger-LeCoultre Amvox1 Alarm in titanium, on our website.